Welcome back to another episode of Now It's Debatable with myself, Sidney Smith, and my co-host and my brother over there, Mr. Deon Curry. What's good, Deon?
What up, what up, what up? Happy Monday to everybody, our master debaters included. Man, it was a good weekend, had some good shows, sold a few t shirts, hung out with an old comic buddy, saw Tony Mack. It was a good weekend.
Sounds like it was action-packed. Before we get to any more of that, and the rest of the show, I want to go ahead and thank our Patreon members who help support the show each and every week. We do appreciate you. Shout out to all of you. For everyone who's not doing it, no problem. Thank you for coming out and supporting the show. If you can't be a Patreon member, we would love it if you could at least show some more support by clicking that share button. We would so appreciate it if you can go ahead and get that a click right now for us. We got a fun show lined up fun show lined up for you all tonight. We're going to get into a little bit of Trump talk because how can we not? The man is constantly in the news. And there was a funny question posed to Mr. Jon Stewart by an anchor on CNN, and we'll get into that very shortly. But before we do, I want to go back to Deon again. Deon, you hung out with our good friend, Tony Mack. How's he doing? You get a Master Debate, a little bit of an update on him.
I hadn't seen Tony Mack in maybe a year and a half, if not more. He was doing all right. Came out to see Kevin Bozeman. Just so happened to be that I was there as well. He did not come to see me specifically. So yeah, in your face, Tony Mack. That's cool. Didn't you know? Let the nigga know he was coming until you showed up, but it is what it is. But
Hey, when he saw you, was it one of those, hey, man? I knew you was going to be here. Was it one of those?
well, he snuck in right as I was going on stage, so it was one of those things where I didn't even get to see him before the show. So,
Motherfucker
um,
was
but
probably right there in the entryway waiting for you to go on stage and then came walking in as you was walking on stage.
yeah, but he was doing good. It was good to see him.
Good.
Good guy. So
Shout out to Tony Mack if you are watching tonight, mofo. And applause Tony even stepping into a comedy club because that is too close to other people with talent. So,
I gotta tell you, after the show, he goes, "Man, seeing y'all on stage made me want to get back up there." And I was like, "Well, you ain't never even been up there. What you talking
that's what I'm talking about, man. That's what I'm talking about.
about?" But that's my guy. I still love him.
Yeah, man. You got a little light skinned dude. Even though they out of style, dog. That I like to quote that from one of Dion's favorite shows of all time, which I don't understand it, but Martin, which he ranks way up there for some reason.
Dude, that is anytime Martin is on, you can watch it. What are you talking about? There's not an episode where you're like, I don't want to watch this again.
There's a couple episodes where you're like, I can bypass this shit, but for the most part, you can turn on any episode of Martin and know exactly what's going on at any given time. Which I don't know if that speaks to the familiarity of it or just the weak writing. I have no idea. But either
Oh,
way,
kid, I'm not. I'm not. We are not here to debate the merits of
all,
Martin right now. So
all jokes aside to Mr. Martin Lawrence out there, I'm only saying that to get under Dion's skin because he loves himself. That Martin show,
it
boy.
was one of the best shows ever.
It was not. Stop it. We're not debating it. Do not say inflammatory things.
What was better, Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman? Get out of here. There
That's
was,
it. And there you go and find one of the dregs of television to try to
that's just
compare
something
it
you
to.
would watch like
No, I don't
MASH
think
or
so. Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. I see Slim is in the room with us already. What up, dope? What up, dope? For people who don't know what up, dope means, it is a term of endearment. It's how we like to say hello in the D. When I say the D, I mean Detroit, not Dallas. What up, dope, Slim? What up? What up? All right, let's jump into the show. So, again, want to remind you guys, top 5 shows. David James is back with us again. Last week, he stirred up trouble trying to get people to get him a size 14 Nike. And now you come back jumping in and talking about top 5 shows. It is not. But, David, just because you are a new master debater, I will like to see what these top 5 shows are. So whenever you throw them up, I'll read them out, and Dion, I will discuss. So, um, again, thank you guys for joining us here on Not As Debatable. Let's jump into our first topic while we wait for Mr. David James to let us know what these top 5 shows are. I can't wait to see this. Um, TikTok has been in the news a lot over the last year plus, but finally, the good men and women of our United States Congress saw it fit to bring in, I believe, the CEO of TikTok to discuss just how Martin, that's in the top 5. Okay, so he's saying Martin's in the top 5. I thought you might have had the other 4. All right, Martin's in the top 5. Got you. No, it's not though. Miss Susie Myers says, "Hi guys, what's up, Miss Susie? Thank you for joining us. I've got a feeling this is gonna be a fun show. I'm feeling loose, man. I don't know about the rest of y'all. I got my alkaline
Do I
water right here. I'm feeling loose.
do I need to pop a White Claw?
You can. All
Let's
right,
get it cracking.
let's get it cracking. All right, so they found it. They found it the need to bring in the CEO of TikTok. There's been a lot of talk that TikTok is ran by the Chinese. TikTok is giving our personal information and the personal information of our children of this country over to the Chinese. Pretty much, the Chinese are using TikTok as a tool to steal information, identity, so on and so forth. I find it a little bit amusing because this has been a long conversation with a little bit of doing nothing about it. But finally, they saw a reason to bring this guy in and question him. We also have the governor of Utah who signed a bill, not just about TikTok, but TikTok was the catalyst to it. To is and admittedly, I watched them be interviewed on Meet the Press. They're about a year out before they can really lock any of this stuff down. But the bill would, if a person's under the age of 18, they must seek their parents' permission first. There is a cutoff time of using social media from 11:30 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. It would prohibit using targeted ads towards teens and a few other things as well. And I know I think about 13 other states are in line to try to do the same thing. So we wanted to go ahead and discuss, is TikTok a real problem for this country, for the people of this country? Also, there's 150 million users within U.S. alone. Is it a real problem, or is this just something that's fabricated by our government? Dion?
Excuse me. So a little less than half of the U.S. population has a TikTok account. I didn't get one until late last year, and I've only posted one video. I don't use TikTok as much as everybody is, but it's if you're on social media, you've seen a TikTok video. So the fact that it is as popular as it is, um, does give me a little pause when it comes to it being a Chinese run company. But let's
Surprised you
be
said that.
honest. Let's be real. They flew a balloon across the whole country, and it got to the East Coast before it was shot down. So this whole idea of China being the big bad wolf in America is the little Red Riding Hood that needs protection from the hunter is kind of ridiculous to me. Utah throwing it out there that they're gonna deny access to social media from 11:30 to 6:30 in the morning to people under the age of 18 is preposterous to me. Prohibition doesn't work. Regulation is a better option. Um, to me, this is kind of just like the whole abortion ban. If I want to use TikTok, let me use TikTok. If they take my data, they take my data. I don't need the government to tell me what I can and can't do. And I also find it interesting that a lot of these Congress people who are asking the CEO questions are all invested in other types of social media companies that rival TikTok. So that was just another little, this doesn't really seem like y'all really care that much, as opposed to trying to find a way to get some more money out of their investments.
Before I go ahead and say what I have to say next, I want to go ahead because I told David we would get this in. David's has Soul Train, In Living Color, Fresh Prince, Martin, Low Key, and The League. All right. So he has Soul Train. First of all, let me say what.
Soul Train's not a TV show.
Hey man, David's on your side. He's on your side. I mean, he put Martin in there, and I
No,
and I would and I would say
Martin belongs.
none of these shows, other than The Living Color, may even have a shot being in the top five.
You're crazy.
I
Look,
I will say this: David James, if you can't tell by the photo, is not an African American. So the fact that the fact that he went with Soul Train instead of American Bandstand gets him a little bit of this.
come on, you can't compare American Bandstand to Soul Train. First of all, I don't care what color you are. Watching one show and then watching the other.
Did not say that American Bandstand was better, but you can compare them. They are essentially the same damn show. All right.
No, because Soul Train was so much better than American
That
Bandstand.
doesn't mean
But
you can't compare them.
yes, you don't compare
Oh, Jesus.
amateur boxer to Mike Tyson. What are you talking about?
Get
Yes,
out of
they
here.
box, but no.
Get out of here.
Like,
Get out of here. All right.
and another thing, Soul Train might, as for all intents and purposes, was like the box. You remember that?
I do
You
remember the
recall
box.
that's what.
But
Soul
you didn't see
Train
this.
was.
But you didn't get to see none of this on the box. You didn't get to see-
I missed the box.
you didn't get to see none of that.
But I don't understand why people watch Soul Train. It was a concert with people dancing around, but the concert would last for like 20 minutes, and then the
D,
rest was just.
I'm about to pass it to you.
Uh oh, my computer froze.
Ah, you're a liar. All right, let's move along. Move along. Again, guys, if you guys out there with us, throw some of those emojis up. Let us know if you did get a show or not. All right.
Soul Train taught me rhythm.
Who said that?
Dave.
Oh, Dave, you are the first one on the wall. First one on the wall is the Soul Train taught him rhythm. All right. Oh, shit. Jessica Lee's in with us.
What up,
Yes,
Jake?
we are talking about social media kids right now. What's up? What's good, Jessica? Thank you for joining us. Ricky's in there. Miss Susie's in the house. Mary is in. She says she's driving, but she's listening. Thank you, Mary, for joining us. Alan is in with us too.
Miranda's in with us as well.
Oh, okay. That's good. What's good? All right. Sounds
And my guy Sean Jones, man, talk about throwback. Sean Jones is a local comic here when I first started 18 years ago. Shout out to him. What up, bro?
Shout out to Sean Jones. Sean, you ain't been around in a while, brother. We missed you. And we're happy to have you back so you get a little bit of applause break, brother. All right. So, yes, Jessica, we are talking social media and the kids. Look, I'm with you with a couple of different things that you said. Now, one thing we'll disagree, and it's because I think it gets over politicized, and that's why we don't take it seriously. China is a real threat to this country. China has taken the place of Russia in terms of being the number one threat for this country. I don't take North Korea as seriously. The Middle East as a whole is right behind China. But when you talk about financially and all of the above, China is a real threat to this country. So I'm with you in terms of they let that damn balloon float all the way across the country before they decided to shoot it down. I'm with you in terms of these politicians, and I kind of opened up with this. We've been discussing this for a long time, and now you guys have finally decided to at least bring someone in to sit them down in front of you. Now, I think all of that shit right there is for show because how many times do we ever see anything come out of that? And a lot of the reasons we will not will probably be twofold. One, you made the point of a lot of these men and women sitting up in here questioning that man and their brethren have a lot of stock, a lot of money tied up in these social media companies and anything else that's getting ready to come up behind it. Two, 150 million users use TikTok in this country. The next part of that is a lot of these young people make a lot of money off of TikTok. So whether those young people are voters or they're too old or too young to vote and their parents are voters, that is still a lot of folks that you could take it, that none of them I'm sure want to take a chance on losing, whether they be Democrat or Republican. But if you throw China in the middle of it, everybody wants to throw their arms up and pretend like they want to do something. So I'm with you in a lot of ways on there.
I just I find it hypocritical. You know, you talk about China being the big bad wolf, and you know, basically America doesn't want China to do what America does, and so it's like you're trying to hold on to your spot, and China's like, well, we want to try it, and you know, can they do it better? I don't know, but this whole idea that TikTok is some type of sleeper cell, I'm like, they don't need TikTok to do that. Like, you know, it whatever cybersecurity that America is lacking, I'm sure China is aware of it. So if they're going to steal your data from TikTok, what if you don't use TikTok? How are they going to get, like, to me it just doesn't make any sense for that to be the big concern. They don't have a problem with Facebook selling your data. They don't have a problem with Twitter selling your data. They don't have a problem with any other of these social media companies collecting data and selling it to the highest bidder. So what's one more? You know, to me, it doesn't really make that much sense to fear China's uh, surgence into the national superpower spotlight. To me, is just it's kind of ridiculous. America's always going to be number one so long as we keep producing culture. Like it, that's the one thing that no other country can even get close to us. Our culture is the number one culture in the world. So as long as we keep that up, now it's slipping a little bit. I will give you that because of all this, you know, storming the Capitol crap we got going on. But for the most part, America will be fine.
Well, I don't think America will be fine if you just leave things as they are. I don't think you can let China do what it will. You made the point that so what? China is doing what they're doing. They're going to do it anyway, TikTok or no TikTok. And I agree with you. Just as America will try to do what it is doing to whatever enemies that they perceive. But it doesn't mean we should make it easier for them. You know, when you have something, look, you said something about regulations. I want to go back to that. I want to make sure I don't miss this. I'm with you when it comes to regulations for social media. I, for a long time, have been preaching treat them as you would treat a utility company, all of them. And if that means that they have to start charging a certain amount of money, which is going to be regulated by the government, for me, then so be it. Because that is the only way that we will ever get them away from targeting ads towards teens, from having to collect your data and sell it, so on and so forth. Social media is a great experiment, and there's no such thing as a free lunch. Everyone thinks because they can get on and use something. I shouldn't say everyone. A lot of people, because you don't think about this until the news media tells you that you should, that you get to use this thing. I get to talk to my friends. I get to catch up with old classmates. I can keep up with my grandkids who live all the way across the country and all these different things, and it doesn't cost me a dime. Well, it's costing you something. And when you look at it that way, can the argument be made they are providing you a service? So if they are taking your data or whatever they're doing and selling it, is that the cost of doing business? Can that argument be made as well?
Well, here's my thing. They're just sending you ads. Like at the end of the day, you have the choice to make whether or not you like the ad, whether you buy the ad, whatever that ad is selling. You know, they can target ads at me all day long. You know how many ads I get for mobile games and that
Yep.
nature that I
Yep.
just scroll right past because I have zero interest in it. So this whole idea that the targeting ads to teens don't have any money, right? So as a parent, you should be regulating what your child has access to anyway before the government can come in and tell you, hey, this is dangerous, blah 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 blah. You as a parent should be on the forefront of that knowledge. Take the personal accountability to know what your kids are getting into and what type of environment that they're in. That's your responsibility as a parent. So I don't have any kids, but I know my nephew, he's got the meta headset and he plays with my other nephew. So like his parents know what's on there and they allow him a certain amount of time and access, and it is what it is. So at the end of the day, you as a parent, the whole idea that it's to save the children to me is laughable because we do not care about the future generations in this country. I mean, it's blatantly obvious from the food production in this country to the gun regulations and so on and so forth. So this is the main reason why I don't worry about China. They had a one child policy for 40 plus years, and that's going to bite them in the ass in the long run. So, again, as long as America maintains its cultural superiority, people will still want to come here. People will still perceive it as the best country in the world. And so you'll be able to lure the top creators of anything with the quote unquote American dream.
I
And
believe
until another country comes up with something to match that, I just don't see us losing our spot.
I I heard you use the word initially you used the word in your initial argument, hypocritical. And one thing I will say, and I'm sure you will agree with me, that I do find hypocritical about bringing him in and at least pretending you want to do some real things at TikTok, is we cannot find anyone to really, well, I shouldn't say anyone, nothing's absolute. We cannot find a majority of bipartisan folks in Congress who want to protect our kids from guns. But you can find a way to make a big deal about TikTok. If you attach China to guns, I'm sure there would be some real debate and some real things done when it comes to keeping the guns out of the hands of children, keeping guns out of the hands of people who are mentally unstable.
Are you
So,
crazy? They would say China is the reason why all these people need to go get guns because that's the big bad wolf. If
no,
if you let if
I
you let
disagree with that.
people really talk about China and how it's they're communists and da 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 da, it's like China's
They
taking
are
over. They're
communists,
trying to.
but they are going to be
They
more
are
communists.
communists, but at the end of the day, China ain't starting no beef with no anybody who's got nuclear weapons don't want to fight nobody who's got nuclear weapons, and that's what it boils down to.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think we have. I'm with you there. I don't think we have one mad man or mad woman out there who has their finger on the button. Not yet. Not in our lifetimes, hopefully, or our children's lifetimes, or kids after that. Missouri says kids will get around limits they put out. Most kids are smarter than Congress. You're probably
I
right
would
about
agree
that.
with you on that, Miss Susie.
Ricky says, I'm against telling people what to do, but in 14 years of customer service, I can also tell you that they can't make decisions for themselves. I don't know. Ricky, crazy enough, you make a decent point there, sir. Um, and I do believe that is why there is a need, and this is going against the conservative in me, but there is a reason why the government needs to step in at certain times. If you have, if you feel like there is a real issue with these kids and social media, and I believe that too much of anything is a bad thing, and I think we are seeing it with these generations of kids that are coming up, then you have to do something about it. The old days where you could rely, even if those days even existed, I don't know how long ago they even existed, where you could rely on the parents of these kids to make sure that they were maintaining themselves and growing up and becoming good adults and positive and having positive things in front of them at all times. Those days are long gone. Long gone are the days that not only could your parents make sure that you were doing what you're supposed to do, so could the neighbors, so could your grandmother, so could your cousin. So if it takes the government stepping in with a light foot, I don't really see a problem with it. Only because we do have this same government that regulates so many different things already.
Let me ask you this: do you think TikTok is a problem for teens because of the access that it gives, or is it the fact that it is a reflection of the society that we live in, where you can make a stupid video and post it on TikTok and get millions of views, and now everybody sees that this is what we are?
Was that the end of the question?
Yeah.
What was the first part of the question again? What was your first
Well,
option?
do you think it's TikTok's fault for creating this atmosphere, this cultural phenomenon of people wanting to post silly videos and stupid things, or do you think that was already here and that TikTok is just the gateway?
I think that TikTok is not the blame on its own. No. I do. I think that people, over the time that social media has existed, have people yearn for more and more opportunities and more chances to say, hey, look at me. Hey, I really don't have any real talent, but pay attention to me anyway. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And as a creative, it drives me absolutely nuts. But as an American citizen, it drives me insane as well.
So to me, I think it's just another vehicle for us to see ourselves as we are. I mean, China has this focus on they don't allow their um, citizens to watch certain things on
I'm
TikTok.
glad you brought that
It
up.
bans them. And so here in America, it's a free for all. You have the freedom to be an idiot. And a lot of people in this country are fucking idiots. And they will gladly show you in a 1 minute or 30-second clip. So this whole idea that, we got to get rid of this app because it's targeting kids and making them want to do, well, kids are already doing stupid shit. We rode metal sheet slides in the summertime and burned our asses. It was a dumb thing to do. Our parents didn't protect us from that, but you learn. So this is just another sheet metal slide in the summertime, and kids need to learn that. Look, when you get out here in the world, that what you do as a child, the decisions that you make are even magnified even more so now than it was when we were kids, because you didn't have social media for everybody to find out all the bad mistakes that you made when you were a child. Whereas now, if you're a kid and you're 13, 14, 15 years old and you do something stupid or you say something crazy or racist and you make a mistake, it's plastered on social media and you have to live with that for the rest of your life. You remember the permanent record? Oh, we're going to put this on your permanent record.
You just shit bricks about that permanent record.
Yeah, no one gives a fuck about the permanent record in school, but TikTok is a permanent record, IG is a permanent record, Snapchat is a permanent record that lasts, that has much more devastating
But
effects the negative way.
yes, but even with that said, and even with these kids as smart as they are, we're still finding them doing dumb things and doing things that they probably wouldn't do any other time in their entire life. I'm still amazed at the amount of kids, racist kids, who jump on and do these racist acts and use the N word over and over again on social media, knowing the whole world would see it, knowing that there was kids before. So I'm amazed by it. Not to say that's the only thing, the only problem I have with it. I'm still amazed. Another problem I do have with TikTok is the monkey see, monkey do thing that has really, really become the thing for these kids now. Hey, they say do this, so I'm gonna do it, and then it just goes and goes and goes and goes. I think there's something to be said for teaching an entire generation that is a proper mindset to have, amongst other things. Go ahead.
Well, I think you have to look at, you know, original ideas are shunned upon. If I can do a repeat of what someone else has already done, and add a funky little melody to it, I can go more viral than the person who created the thing that I'm copying. So the idea of originality has also gone away because we don't hold people to be original anymore. That's probably the main reason why I have a problem with rap music nowadays, is because they're all this. There's nothing original about any of the content that these people are creating. They're all just mimicking a formula and tweaking it slightly, and it's like there's nothing original about you that makes me want to be like, oh wow, this guy has some substance. You're just taking a cookie cutter formula and baking your own cookie and trying to sell it like it's something fantastic.
But we do have to admit, and I'm gonna go to the comments. So you guys keep sending them in. I see you, Alan. I see you, Kelly. Hey, Dion. Before I do, someone here says Facebook user. I can't see the name. Says thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you. Sorry for working like crazy. Love you, my guys.
That's Sean.
Okay. The 11:30 p.m. the 6:30 a.m. curfew. I love the idea of that. I do love the idea of you have to be over 18 to be able to freely use it without your parents. Now I don't know how to get any of this done, and I was watching actually on Meet the Press, and Chuck Todd asked the governor of Utah, "How do you plan to enact these things?" And he said, "Well, we got a year to figure it out. We got some third-party companies we're going to bring in, and we're going to figure some things out." So at this point, I don't see this anything more than I wanted to get some press over here to make it look like I'm doing some things. But I would hope that there's a couple of things that they can get done. I really love that 11:30 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. idea. In fact, I think I would love it for a lot of adults too, not just kids if they could not
Well,
plaster
what if
shit
you
all
work?
over.
I mean, to me, putting a timestamp on it, they're going to find a way to access it, whether it's creating a fake email account that's older. They will find a way, and there's no way that you will be able to track it unless you actually individually go to people's homes. To me, the idea is ridiculous. There should be some type of regulation, but I'm just hearing Chris Spangle in my head that the government's terrible at regulating things because they can be bought by lobbyists, and so it just creates another cycle of useless um, taxes and whatnot. And so it's like I just don't see it working. If you don't want your kid on TikTok, then don't get your kid a phone or that has access to the internet that they can download these apps, and that's the end of it. I mean, at the end of the day, they have firewalls in school and kids still look up porn.
I,
So there's nothing you can really do to stop a determined child to getting access to. Dude, I used to go to the library and go crazy on those computers. So I'm just saying, it's if you want it, you can get it.
I don't think we're anywhere close to the government regulating social media. If they wanted to do it, they would have done it a long time ago. And probably to your point, I'm sure Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, for that matter, uh, uh, what am I, Twitter, have all been greasing some palms in D.C. to make sure that regulation doesn't come that way, because they don't want anything to do with that. Facebook for sure doesn't want it, and Google would be next as far as regulating goes as well. So I'm sure they're greasing palms, and neither one of those two mammoth companies want that, because then you're talking about breaking companies up once you can regulate them as well. So neither one of them want that for sure. Like again, monkey show, monkey show, monkey show. For you folks out there who are watching, you probably just saw streaming, just throwing up there. Just a reminder how you can become a Patreon member if you want to report the show and get bonus shows and some up close and personal conversations with Deon and myself. All right, let's go back to some comments here. Oh shit. Alan says he's getting ready to turn 30 on March 30th. Alan, tell me what you're gonna be doing, brother. Tell me it's not working. Tell me you're not working on your birthday. 30 is a big number. 30 is a big number. I remember when I turned 30, it was a little depressing for me, but a 30 is a big number. Yeah, how'd you feel when you turned 30?
I remember turning 30. 30 was a big year for me. I had a lot of stress and some tribulations, but I made it through. I'll be 39 this year, so
If I know better,
yeah.
I swear Alan and Dion set this up so Dion could use the word tribulation. Been waiting all day. This thing tribulation in.
I wasn't even thinking about it till you brought it up, and then I thought about 30 was a rough year.
Facebook user says, I agree with Dion, but Dave Chappelle had one of the best quotes. We have Democrats, Republicans, and Independents, but all the motherfuckers over there is Chinese.
That was Sean, and he's referring to everybody in China is Chinese for the most part, and so culturally they don't have the differences among uh, race, if you will, that we do. So
No, no, and someone else
it's
made that same point. Not only is it race, but they don't even have uh, a big separation when it comes to the different parties, political parties, the way that the way that we do.
I think their biggest issue would be classism over racism because you know for the most part the whole country is Chinese, whereas in America it's a melting pot where you've got people who look similar but don't have the same views and whatnot.
I think we could argue, you and I could go back and forth with some of the master debaters on what is a bigger problem in this country. Is it classism or is it racism?
We'll
Kelly,
save that for another show.
yeah, yes. Kelly Royce Jr. says, I miss the 90s. The issue with social media is the online ability to bully. When we were kids, you were in a safe place when you got home. So all of you had to do was make it through school. Now the bullying of kids is 24/7 and they don't have a safe spot. Kelly, that is
turn
a
off turn off the social media.
well, if you're talking, if you, but yeah, but if we go back to your point that kids can get to it regardless of what you do, they're going to be able to get to it.
Well, at the end of the day, if you're getting bullied on the internet, all you have to do is log off the internet. They're gonna be talking about you, but you ain't gonna have any access to it, so it ain't gonna affect you until you go back to school where you're supposed to get bullied anyway.
Yeah, but
So
then
at
it
the
takes us back to the addiction of social media issue. It takes us back to the issue if I'm not a part, am I missing something? It takes us back to the all right, if I'm not seeing it or hearing it, what are they saying I need to know? So there's a lot of other things. It's not just and you're asking kids to just shut it off and stay away from it.
No, what I'm saying is if you're online and you're getting sent hateful messages and being trolled and treated poorly, then you need to get off the internet because there is no regulation when you're on the internet. You can say and do pretty much whatever it is that you want to do. And there's nobody coming in to be like, hey, yo, you guys need to cut it out. That's not okay. Whereas if you're at school and somebody is bullying you, there's somebody you can talk to. When you're online, there ain't nobody coming over to be like, yo, cut that out. Stop doing that. Unless you're blocking people, they have free access to you and you have free access to them. So at the end of the day, that bullying online stuff is all personal choice. You choose who you let to see your content when you go online,
You
whether it's
can't
a
say that,
Facebook
Dion.
profile.
You can't say that, Dion. These are kids you're talking about. This isn't. They have. This is.
They
They don't
still
have. They don't have the minds yet to understand
they
what you're
have
trying
the
to say.
ability. They have the ability to block people they do not like.
And the next
You
thing
can
is now you're asking this for this to happen. Now they're back at school the next day. Whatever was said in that thread or on Twitter or whatever, it's just following them right back to school. And the bullying is probably even more intense. Now don't get me wrong. I'm not one to make excuses for kids because as a child we were all bullied for different reasons. You got buck teeth, you stutter, you whatever. You started getting gray hair early, whatever it was. But this is a different time. That's why, again, going back to what I was saying, we have to do something to protect these kids. They cannot protect themselves. And a lot of them do not have parents who even understand that these kids need protection, more
okay.
protection for themselves.
And so the first step in protection is cutting off access. So I do not allow you to bully me online because I'm not there. So I can't stop you from saying whatever it is you want to say. I can't stop you from trolling me unless I block you. That's access. So the first point to stop the behavior that you don't like is to block those people who engage in the behavior that you don't like. You can't control that at school, but when you're at home and you're on the computer, you're on Instagram, you're on Twitter, you're on
You gonna sit down
Facebook,
and talk to a
you're
9-year-old like this because you sound like you're talking to an adult.
as a parent, if my kid says other kids are bullying me online, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go online with my child and I'm going to block those people and then I'm going to have a conversation with those kids' parents. That's what I would do if I had a child who was being bullied.
Well, of course, but
First thing I
Dion,
do,
kids didn't
I'm not.
kids didn't come home from school and say they were bullied when we were kids. So kids definitely are not. Mom, Dad,
But
they're bullying
here's
me
but
on
here's the
Facebook.
difference.
Can you do something
Here's the
about this?
here's the difference.
No,
As a parent, you have access to your child's internet. They can't keep that from you. You should know their password. You should
I
know
agree with
all
that.
their logins. So at the end of the day, if you see a change in your child's behavior for the negative, the first thing you should do is check what they've been seeing on social media. And when you go in and online and you see that there's a big gap missing or things got deleted that you can't see, you should have even more questions.
Yeah, again, but these are things that happen in a perfect society with perfect parents and the perfect kid and all these different things. There's too many different variables between
No, you ask for a solution to a problem, and this is the solution to the
that is
problem.
no no no
You
no
you
no no
no
no
no
that
no
is
hold
not
on
this
hold
is
on
not
hold
the
on.
solution.
Yes, it's doing your
In a
due
perfect
diligence.
world, go ahead, go ahead.
Doing your due diligence as a parent. If you do everything that you can do, like I said, you can't control other people's kids. You can't control that. If you got a bully at school who's going to bully, that's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to do. You can't protect your child from that other than being present in that classroom while that kid is saying what they're saying and then dealing with it in the moment. But when it comes to things that happen at the house, what your child has access to, like, yo, no. As a parent, you should come in and be like, look, I'm not, we're blocking this person, we're blocking that person, we're deleting this app because it's just putting you in a bad mood, and we're going to refocus your attention to something positive.
All right, let's go to some comments here. Kelly, thank you for the comment. Appreciate it. Facebook user, I appreciate your comment as well. I agree with Dion. I assume that was Sean again, maybe? Who said that?
Nope, that was where's it at? I think that was Jessica Taylor.
Okay. No, I can see Jessica's name. That wasn't Jessica.
Oh,
Mary Ballard says, off topic, but thank you for my birthday wishes, Dion. Wait a minute, did I miss a birthday?
you did miss. You did miss.
When was it?
I do believe it was yesterday.
Oh, I did miss it. I apologize, Mary. Happy belated birthday. I was not on social media yesterday. Dion was bullying me, so I took myself
Oh
off of
my
social media.
God.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Get a trifecta. I hope it was the happiest of birthdays for you, Mary. Jessica Lee Taylor says, so I have a 9-year-old and she does have a phone. TikTok, Roblox, and Facebook for kids messaging are used and also regulated by me. I'm not even sure what's going on with China. Haven't watched the news since the middle of 2020. But I do know everyone is targeted. It's the algorithm. What's watched the most or the longest pops up on news feed or for your page. And Jessica, kudos to you for being on top of it with your 9-year-old who has a cell phone because girls for sure are catching hell when it comes dealing with dealing with those mean girls. So kudos to you, and you would be probably close to, if not dead on, to what Dion's point that he was trying to make. And I'm glad that you are doing. I wish more parents did, but they don't. I'm sorry, she just turned 10. Jessica, you already messed up. How is this child yours? Is this your child for sure? Don't even know the baby's age. So, Larry Skinner says, I'm late. Good evening. Hey, and just for a update, David James, not sure if he's still with us or not, but he is still on the wall. Somebody knock this Soul Train Martin, the league loving man off the wall. Otherwise, he's gonna get a point. And do we have? Oh shoot, we don't have. We might have a tie. I don't think anyone's got the wall
More than once.
more than once this month. So might just send out a couple of them. All right, Facebook user says Roland Martin was just saying that. He said the one child policy is biting them in the ass because now they don't have future generations trying to take over. And I would
That
say
was Sean.
that was Sean. Sean, great point. I was going to ask Dion to go into it a little further. And I like Roland Martin. I don't always agree with him or the Ascots, but he is a smart dude. he's a smart dude, and I like catching them some of his clips sometimes on YouTube. Dion, is that the point that you were making?
Yeah, I mean, China hurt itself when it comes to India is going to surpass them in a most people populated country. Um, China only allowing parents to have one child for 40 years. That as time moves forward, you get an older population that becomes less productive, and with less people to do the tasks that all all the Chinese people do, they're the workforce. So it will hurt them in the long run when it comes to labor force and that type of thing. But for me, the issue with China isn't necessarily the the tech aspect of it. People are still going to want to come to America for the quote unquote freedoms that we have. And you're not going to move to China unless you're a communist and you've got buku bucks to bypass some of the strict things that they have in place over there. So as far as the freedom to live the life that you want to live, America is the place to be. You're not moving to China to you know become a TikTok superstar, whereas in America you can you know come. Just imagine if Arnold Schwarzenegger came over here now and lived the life that he's lived, from being an Austrian bodybuilder to becoming the governor. I mean, just can you picture him doing that now with social media? How much even more popular he would be, from being a movie star to a governor to a champion bodybuilder. Just the possibilities to come to America and literally do anything that you want to do that you can think of. If you do it well enough and you get enough people on board, you can't do that really anywhere else, especially not to the magnitude that you can do it here.
I mean, I would agree that this is still the land of milk and honey. Not to use that old phrase, compared to a lot of other places. And I'm the one who will always ride and die for America, far more than anyone else that we've ever had on this show as a co-host or otherwise. So I don't disagree with any of that, but we cannot lose sight that we do have enemies out there, and we have enemies out there who would love to see the exact point that you made absolutely crumble. And any way that they can do that, they will be very happy and pleased to do so. So,
But
go ahead.
that's where I push back because
Okay.
they wouldn't be doing it. That's what people need to understand. America's biggest enemy is America itself. I don't care about Russia. I don't care about China. I don't care about North Korea or any other Middle Eastern terrorist regime, the big bad boogeyman that's out there. No, America's problem has and will always be America. We are better at being assholes than anybody else could ever dream of. It's not even
Now,
close. We
now you,
spend more
here you go
money
trying to piss
on
me off now. Here you go.
we spend more money on defense than what is it, the top 23 countries combined. So I don't want to hear about it being somebody else that comes over here and ruins America. No, you know who's going to ruin America? The people who march on the Capitol, the people who think that Jewish space lasers are a real thing. Those are going to be the people who ruin what this country is supposed to be. So
Dion, we've always had Dion,
this
we've
whole
always had
idea that a
anti-Semites. We've always had anti-Semites. We've always had racists. That is not a new phenomenon in this country. That is not new at
okay,
all. So to say that that's going to be the reason, there are other things that people will do and try to interject into our culture here to try to bring us down. You know it. I know it. Everyone watching this show knows it. So you
and
can't just.
the fools who will fall for that crap are the reason why we will as a country will be destroyed. It isn't their doing. It's the foolish people that live here already. The people who fall for segregation now, segregation forever. The fools who think that, oh, because you disagree with me, that you're that I shouldn't vote and I should take away the rights of women and that you should be paid less for the same job. Those are the people who already live here, who are born American. Those are the people that these quote unquote boogeymen are going to try and trick us into thinking with a deep fake or some crap that, oh, I need to go and overthrow the government because the election was stolen. Those people have always been here. And it isn't until the people that live in this country check those people and go, look, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
That's
That's
not going. You
crazy.
say that all the time. That's not happening. That is why this country is what this country is, because at certain times the government will protect that group of people, which is the majority of group of people, from that minority group of crazies. This isn't ever going to be
They're
a
not
society.
this.
This is never going to be where the majority is going to be out here checking people. You always
This is
say that.
that's why I keep trying to tell you that the majority of people in this country are that crazy. 75 million people voted for Donald Trump for one reason or the other, that they could listen to everything he said and be like, you know what, at the end of the day, he's better than another person, right? So it's not too far of a rock throw for me to say and lump these people all together. If you can fall for conspiracy theory, if you can get tricked by a con man, a clear con man, whereas Hillary Clinton was a little bit more selective with her, because she's a con artist too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying she's any better than Donald Trump. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the blatant. It is 2023, and this man is still claiming that the election was stolen 3 years after the fact that he lost, and that he needs to be reinstated as president. And he is gaining more and more support as time moves on.
I want
How
to
is that possible?
Well, let's make sure we don't get too far down on Trump, because we are going to touch on him a little bit here in a minute. Thank you guys for watching. Now it's debatable. We do appreciate it. Want to get through some more comments here, because I'm sure we have some good ones here. I see David James here, Jessica Lee, Miss Susie. So I want to make sure Kelly looks like he's down there too. So let me make sure I touch on them before we go to our next segment. David says TikTok used to not have any restrictions, allowed nudity, etc. I don't think TikTok created the outlandishness, but rather facilitated it. It gives great visibility than greater visibility than IG. And David makes a good point there, especially for a lot of people who were creatives. TikTok became the place to be because it did have a lot more flexibility, freedom, if you will, as opposed to what IG had, which you see Facebook, as usual, is always playing catch up Now with IG, they're trying to play catch up to TikTok. So David makes some good points there. Dion?
I mean, the app is what you use it for. So at the end of the day, what choice you make as a child and as a parent, TikTok will be what you make it. The algorithm is based off what you watch. So the more time you spend on there, the more it cultivates an idea of what they think you like. So if you're limiting TikTok from 11:30 to 6:30 a.m., okay, fair enough. I don't think it'll work, but it's a start, right? And then you figure out, oh, maybe there's a better way to do that. And so a new regulation comes in. I don't have a problem with people using it for what they want to use it for. But at the end of the day, you are responsible for what you choose to put in your life. Even as a teenager, I loved anime, but I didn't have access to it the way I have access to it now. So again,
You stay out of my spare
as a
bedroom. Your anime.
as a parent, it's the parent's responsibility to, navigate that space with their children. At the end of the day, you are the first and last line of defense for your child and what they're exposed to.
I'm going to go on to Miss Susie here, and I'm going to not fall for your bait. Miss Susie says parents and every other adult have to work their ass off or they can't afford to eat. Kids are left on their own, and terrible people take advantage because parents don't spend time with kids. They parent with the guilt and overindulge their kids. And a good point out of everything, the key point for me out of all of it, and Dion will probably agree with this because he loves to go to this when he and I have these discussions. For people who are new to the show, I am a capitalist. I am a conservative. Dion is not. Dion is. I always say socialist. I don't think I've ever heard him title himself that.
Oh,
But
I'm definitely a socialist.
okay, so Dion is a socialist. So we finally got him on record. Uh, but with the price of everything, food and gas and just living these days, Miss Susie's right. People are having to work more and more and more just to even try to make ends meet, to do the daily things of keeping a roof over there in their kids' heads and food in their stomachs for a lot of these folks. Because let's be honest, I need to go back and look at the numbers. I can't say if it's the majority, but a large portion of this country is living close to the poverty level, or maybe just above it, somewhere just below what middle class used to be.
I wonder how that happened. I
We, we,
wonder how I wonder how
we're
people
not going to.
capitalize
We're
on
not. That's not the
that
argument.
idea.
Okay, that's not the argument. The argument is,
Well,
with that being said, you are asking parents who are already spreading themselves thin to try to spread themselves even thinner with watching the social media. Are you laughing at me, or are you laughing at something there you reading?
I'm laughing at a comment that will definitely make the wall.
Okay, go ahead. Somebody make some talk some shit about me.
No, no,
Oh,
no.
all right, go ahead.
Sean,
Oh, go ahead.
Sean Jones Jr. says, my algorithm is full of light skinned, big booty black women with the emoji.
Yours and David James's. So don't worry about it. You're not alone. Not alone. All right, good point, Miss Susie. Good point. All right, David says good point. Look at all of the remake movies. Going back to something what Dion was saying about originality, there is none. And David and Dion, a little off topic. I was watching a clip of a Matt Damon interview, and he just kind of broke down what the business model of Hollywood is now in terms of and how strict they are with it in terms of your movie needs to make this. So we'll give you this much money to make the movie. We're going to give you this much money to advertise and market it, which is sometimes more than what the movie cost. And now you need to hit both these numbers. And if you don't, you're not making any more movies over here again. So going back to what you both were kind of touching on, I'm sick of the remakes, but that's why you keep seeing nothing but Batman and Spider-Man movies and anything X-Men and so on and so forth because Black Panther, because that's all people will definitely go out and spend money on for sure.
But those movies are, well, aside from Batman, those movies are original ideas. You never saw a Iron Man movie back in the day. You never saw the Avengers. They were all comic books. So they have this dearth of creative ideas that would make great films. And for the life of me, I can't figure out what DC is doing because they have just as good at characters, yet somehow they keep making subpar shitty movies. Like Black Adam was terrible.
I believe we got the Rock
Flash.
fired.
I mean, it watching that compared to a Marvel movie, you're like, what are you guys doing? Like, it shouldn't be this difficult.
It,
But at the
it's
same time, you have to stay in whatever lane you're in. So if you're making a romantic comedy, of course you're not going to do Marvel movie type numbers. But that doesn't mean that the concept and the writing behind that film can't do well. I think and we're kind of off topic, but for me, the whole concept of originality, it's not, you don't have to come with a brand new idea. If you're doing a different take on an idea that's already been done, I personally don't have a problem with that. It's when you do the cook when you what do they call it when you mirror a video and you're the video's talking and you're just lip syncing it. I don't remember what that's called, but that's literally all we're doing nowadays. And it's like people are getting rich off this whole, I'm just going to take what someone else has already done and do a voiceover for it.
well, I think what you have seen, and we are a little off topic, but I want to say this, and then we'll get back to it. So, hang in there with us, folks. I do think what you are seeing, and I was just talking to someone about this the other day because I was talking about The Rock getting fired from DC. They're getting rid of the woman who played Wonder Woman as well. They got
Gal
rid of
Gadot.
thank you. They got rid of Harry Cavill. He won't be playing Superman going forward. He's a client of The Rock's wife. They are keeping the guy who plays Shazam, which that movie just from the commercials looks like something I would never watch. I've never seen either one of those movies. I'm like, what the hell is this? But DC does a better job with television than they do with movies for whatever reason. And I think to your point, it is you have to find a lane. Now, I do not think DC overall has just as good as characters as Marvel. I do not. I think they got a couple that are iconic: Batman, Superman, and some villains in there that are iconic as well. But I don't think overall. I get that they want to be able to compete, but sometimes you have to find, to your point again, find your lane. And I think DC does a great job with television with their shows. Next thing I will say is I don't think someone who wants to write a movie that does not have something to do with Tom Cruise and a jet or Mission Impossible or superheroes and supervillains is going to make that blockbuster money that Hollywood is looking for 9 times out of 10. I think what we are seeing, and for good reason, you're seeing a lot of that content going to television, to the streaming services, Netflix, Apple TV, so on and so forth. There's a lot of great things there. Cinemax, HBO, MGM Plus has some great things as well. Forrest Whitaker's doing a great job with The Godfather, with The Godfather of Harlem and other things like that. So I think there's a place for it. I just don't think it's at the movies anymore, and I don't think the money is there. One, you do not have the people going to see movies live anymore like they used to and paying that money. And I think it all the more important for whatever you do put up on the big screen has to knock down numbers. It just has to.
Well, I mean, I think that a part of that is because of the attention span of the average consumer, that it is shortened so much that it, if you don't have a 15-second drop dead amazing trailer, people are going to see it and then forget. And so because, you know, 30 years ago, you weren't competing with all these other avenues of entertainment where people can get on TikTok and watch videos for 6, 7, 8 hours, Instagram reels 6, 7, 8 hours a day. They don't have to go to the fucking movies to get their entertainment fix. And so, the same with TV shows now, where if you can't launch the entire season right now, people get upset that they have to wait a week to watch the next episode. I
I, for
mean,
one,
that
will
is just,
wait 3, 4 weeks and let it get in the hole before I watch.
right. So, I mean, it just, to me, it is just the changing of the times as far as people's attention spans and what they have access to. You have so many different platforms where you can watch something, whether it be Hulu, HBO Max, Disney Plus, freaking Peacock. You've
Got them
got
all.
Apple, HBO Max, if I didn't say that one already. So you've got all these different avenues where you can check out entertainment. And so I think the problem becomes managing your time, whether you're a teenager or an adult, with what the entertainment space that you use. And I don't expect children to be able to navigate that anywhere near as well as adults can. And I think that to bring it back to what we were talking about with TikTok, if you put a time limit on TikTok, if there was a setting that said, hey, my kid can only be on TikTok for 2 hours a day max, and then the app locks and it has to wait another 24 hours, as a parent, I wouldn't have a problem with that, just so that my kid could do something else until that time expired.
Yeah, and I'm with you there. You kind of took me back, and thanks for bringing us back to it because I was getting ready to do it. You beat me to it, so thank you. I remember growing up as a kid, and my almost every day was accounted for by my mother if I wasn't in school. Because if I wasn't in school, then I was doing homework, and then I was done with homework. I had to read, and then every week I had vocabulary words that my mother gave me on top of the words I got in school, and I had to go and look up those definitions and learn how to spell them. And if I had a question for my mother, because I was always a curious kid, I had to go look it up. There was no easy answers. There was no if even for us the encyclopedia, I still had to go look it up. She wasn't answering anything for me. So I know parents, and I say that with my mother being a single mother who worked full time at General Motors raising 4 kids. She managed to do that. But at the same time, I know not every parent is able to do that, does not have the time to do that, especially given where we are now economically and socially in this country. So there's always a slippery slope when you want the government to step in and do something. And I think more so as opposed to doing something to step into someone's home, I would love it if they stepped into, again, they won't do it, but if they stepped in and did some regulating of the social media, but they won't do it. Just like they're not getting rid of TikTok. So
Well,
if I didn't make that point, that's where I lied. They're not getting rid of TikTok.
so here's my thing. Why are you expecting the government to do it when you won't do it yourself? Like at the end of the day, we all know the government is highly inefficient and we
Surprised you're
don't
saying
check.
that.
Well, because it's the truth. We don't check the government. Look at all the people who got voted in who have no business being in Congress. Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Nancy Pelosi needs to get out of there. All these people who keep getting reelected over and over and over again who do not have the best interests. They're only there to make money and capitalize off what they can get from that seat. They don't really care. And so if you want these people to come in and regulate and you're not willing to regulate yourself, I think that is a losing battle that you have zero chance of winning, because one, it's clear and obvious that the government does not care, from how slow they roll out to give people water and FEMA when Hurricane Katrina happened, to the train spill, to the Mississippi tornadoes, and all that this other stuff. Just how inefficient the government actually runs when it comes to real crisis. So this idea that they're going to be efficient at regulating TikTok, to me, is preposterous. Do I think there should be something where the government says, "Hey, TikTok, I need you to create parent-friendly tools that will help their children monitor their TikTok accounts and how much time they're spending on that"? I think that would be more efficient than the government just saying, you know what, get rid of the app altogether, blah, 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 blah.
I agree with having some added tools for the parents to use. We're still relying on those same parents who aren't doing it now to watch over their children. All right. Kelly Roy says, I was loving this till I saw the White Claw. I can't take this serious anymore. So,
You got hate in your heart, Kelly, let it out.
Kelly. Chelsea says, I'll be 30 next month. All right, youngin, catching up. Jessica Lee says, gosh, I'm glad I wasn't the only one. 30 blue. Yeah, it was not good, Jessica. It was not good. Still waiting for someone to knock David James off the wall. Alan says, I'm turning 39 on March 30th. Okay, I apologize, Alan. Now I can say what I was thinking. I was like, man, that's an old 30, bro.
Jesus Christ.
Like, man, Alan, what? I hope the next 30 is better than the first 30. Stay boy, kicking your ass, son.
Hell, you cold blooded, motherfucker.
What's you getting out of
Cold
bed,
blooded.
sir? So, Alan, come on. Alan's a long-time master debater. He knows how we get down.
You know what you sound like?
What?
You sound like from Bad Boys 2. Reggie, how old are you? 16? Motherfucker, you look 30.
And Alan says, no, I have it off. Excellent. Good work, Alan. Good work. David James says, Sid, you have to get with me one day to talk about China. That's half my heritage. Lots of stories from my grandmother. David, I would love for you to come on to the show maybe one day and have these conversations and share. We'll have to talk about that off and let me know if you're willing to do that. But I did know that David's half his heritage is Chinese, so I did know that. One of the great things is I know David and his brother Topher. His brother's coming in. Actually, I was just texting with your brother Topher. He's going to be coming in maybe, and we're going to link up. But you would not know it to look at them. First of all, you wouldn't even know they were brothers, but you wouldn't know that they were half uh, Chinese and half Caucasian. But Topher loves to accuse me of being racist whenever it suits him. Oh, that's fucked up. That's racist because I'm Chinese, isn't it? It just goes over these things. I'm like, I didn't even have an idea. I didn't know that. But good people, good people. Kelly Roy says most kids don't tell their parents because they don't want to lose their social media, so they just take it. Right, Kelly, and I'm sure that's just an extension of what it was for kids when we were all kids. You don't want to tell your parents you're getting bullied for a lot of different reasons. One of them, God forbid your mother decided she needed to come up here and take care of this. You are never living that down for the rest of the time you're in elementary school, ever. And actually, it's only going to increase depending on what type of school you're going to and what kind of kids you're dealing with. Some of these kids don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit if your mama came up here. I don't care about none of that. I don't care about being kicked out of school. I don't care
All
about
right,
none of this.
but at the same time, then there lies the problem to which that solution needs to be created. If you know that I've came in and I've talked to this kid and that kid is like, I don't give a fuck, I'm still do what I do. Well, all right, that prison pipeline is right there waiting where these people can't be effective members of society and we need to deal with them post haste.
Remember that Dave Chappelle sketch when they do the scared straight? They
Yeah.
bring the kids in. What'd you do? Double murder? I was like, what? He really killed somebody? You got to get me up out of here. Like, the grown man didn't want to deal with these kids. It's just a crazy thing now. I think my wife just opened the door. Hello, wife. All right. Let's see. Marissa's with us. She says, I'm so glad we didn't have social media when I was in school. I only had to worry about getting my ass beat for nothing walking home. Hey, everybody take an ass whooping sometime, Marissa. You see?
You win some, you lose some, but you live. You live to fight another day.
You see these?
Now you
That's all you need. Go ahead. Go ahead, Dion. Go ahead.
you think you a man with that gun. Huh. I'm a man without
Put up you dukes.
it. Come on, Craig. Come on, Craig.
Let him be a man. He ain't fighting fair. y'all like, got us all down the tangent over here. We sound crazy. I should let you just do it all. My bad. I let you do
Nah,
it
it's
all.
all good. You did a great impersonation of Mrs. Jones.
What is she wearing?
Yeah,
Hey, girl, call me later. Okay. It reminded me of my mother so much. Her and her sisters and my grandmother were not sitting on the porch, just making fun of people as they going up and down the street from the porch. Those are the days I miss, man. I miss those days. Jessica Lee says, I don't live in a perfect world. No, you do not, Jessica, but you make it happen. Not a lot of people do. Kelly says, so as a kid, black, I'm assuming that's what it says, the person, what is this? Now they can just continue to talk shit to everyone else and I can't defend myself. So now the bully just changed the perception of me to all my friends online. Yeah.
well, you're gonna have to address that at some point. So go to school and beat that ass.
Let's see, scroll through here. Kelly says, Sid, I don't know you were a Lakers fan. 86 Celtics better than any Showtime Lakers team. I'm not a Lakers fan. I'm a Magic Johnson fan. I love point guards. I grew up playing point.
Oh, good old Michigan State taking that L in the tournament. How great was that?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. No can, and no one else can. You got anything else to say, sir? Yeah, that's what I fuck. Talking shit about my squad. Uh, David James says the asshole foreign policy in the U.S. is what positioned us poorly on the world stage. China brokering a peace deal between Iran and Saudi Arabia. Now conversations of oil switching from the USD to Chinese yen. This is what's happening while our focus is on safe spaces and social issues. Great points, all of those, David.
We
That's why
don't need it.
we do need it.
No,
We
we don't.
do.
We have enough oil here. America could be a self-sustaining isolationist country if it wanted to,
Would
but
you?
it doesn't.
This that's not what this world is. People, you sound like Donald Trump, like a black Donald Trump.
No, what I'm saying is, as star spangled awesome as you say this country is, why don't you show me? Why are you so dependent on Iran's oil? Why are you so dependent on Chinese manufacturing? You could do all that shit here if you paid a living wage and did what you're supposed to do. If you really care about making America great again, how about you bring the jobs back home and stop shipping them off to Mexico and China and getting cheap labor
Like
and
Trump.
more billionaires and smaller middle class? It's a very simple problem
Could you say the
to
blacks
solve.
love me? Could you say the blacks love Trump?
Look at my African American right over here. Look, he's right here. He's sitting right next to me on the show.
You,
My African
oh
American
yeah,
over there.
I'm the dude with the long perm ponytail in the back with blacks love Trump t-shirt on. I I stopped this morning when I watched the news. They had a video of Trump's rally. And I was actually looking for this dude. I said, did that dude? They had three other black dudes behind him this time. They didn't have my man with the permed out ponytail. David James says also, did you guys see how Kanye shouted out Jonah Hill? I did not see that. Did you see that?
Man, I don't want to hear it. Don't even mention that dude's name here on the show. It's
Okay.
I don't give a fuck what he did or what he does. I'm
All
done
right.
with him.
All right. Rudy T says voting for either of these megalomaniacs is a display of insanity. Facebook user says my algorithm is full of like. Oh, okay. So that one does bump off Dave. That is so. Yeah, so Dion was correct in that, sir. I'm not sure if you have a wife or not, but if you do, I'm going to
Sean's
assume.
not married.
Okay, I'm going to assume that she would be not light skinned and not have a big booty. So, because I think everybody's algorithm is the exact opposite. Like, I think if I went on my wife's Pornhub algorithm, it's like a little short, half white, half Chinese dude who does a lot of dishes. that is just emotionally there for her at all times.
That is not pornographic at all. That is
Maybe not for you, but I'm sure for her. So,
think you need to go wash the dishes.
I'm gonna keep my home happy. Oh, all right. Mary says parents still have to parent. Facebook user says DC makes good video games though. I'm gonna
That
take
was
the word
Chelsea.
for it there. Let me scroll here down a little bit here, get some people in. More evidence to prove Jordan is the GOAT. I agree with that. Jordan is the GOAT. I'm going to leave it right there, Kelly. Jordan is the GOAT. My favorite player all time, Michael Jordan. Absolutely. Lotus Lawson's LOL. And Missouri says, but did your mom was sacrificing? Parents now want to be parents easy. Yep. They want to blame the government, the teachers, and anyone else. Parents would sign their kids on because they won't let them be bored. They won't listen to the whining. Kids are in control. I agree. This is a different time. It's a different time. Again, do we need a third party to step in? Lotus, the two comedians laughing. I love it. Thank you, Lotus. Let's see here. Scrolling through again. Chuck Shoot says China is kicking our ass. Charles Slim says ass whoopings build character. I know Mom's Dukes put some hands on you, so no doubt. Michelle Nugata says I also just joined like 5 minutes ago and have no idea what the topic is. LOL. Facebook user says, then Craig ended up getting beat up by a tiny Mexican gangster in the second film.
That was
which,
Sean.
which was a shitty film. I did not like the second one. Not at all. Not at all. And Michelle Nagata says, whoa, you mean Dion sounds like a conservative to Sidney? Yeah, he did for a minute. He sounded like Trump for a second. Sound like Black Trump. He did, Michelle.
I'm just saying, if you think we're this great, super awesome place, then show me. Stop sending. But that's the thing. When you are a capitalist, you capitalize on cheap labor. And look, man, you don't want to pay people a living wage. Okay, don't complain about it when the people that are your neighbors are knocking down your house to steal your shit. Like, there comes a point in time where you can only take so much, and then it's like, yo, I'm about to run up in that crib. What did Tupac say? You hear people, hey man, I'm hungry. I need something to eat. I'm knocking on the door. Hey man, I'm hungry. I need something to eat. There comes a point in time where I'm not gonna knock on that door anymore. I'm gonna bust in and I'm gonna run up in there and I'm gonna take what I need to take. So instead of letting it get to that point, how about we do the smart thing and be like, you know what? Let's tax China more. Let's bring our jobs back home. Let's stop paying prison labor and pay people who are out in the free market and pay them what they're supposed to be making to do the things that they're supposed to be doing. We don't want to do that because it's a lot easier and a lot more cost effective to send jobs to Mexico and pay them pennies on the dollar and make mega profits and become a rich, isolated idiot who says there's a boogeyman that's going to come and take all your stuff when you're the person that's coming and taking all my stuff.
Rudy T makes a good point here. I want to throw out, but I want to make sure we go to this here. Says Rudy T says wages are directly correlated to the retail prices. These living wages will make the prices for everything skyrocket. I would agree with that because as all things business, they pass it on to the consumer. But Deanna, I want to touch on this real quick before we go to our next topic. Folks, stay with us. Someone here asked a very important question. I did not want to not answer it. Facebook user, I can't even see the name. I do apologize.
Keith Robbins.
Keith Robbins says, "What is your guys' look on the mass shooting today at the elementary school? Having a 4-year-old in school scares me to death." Dion?
This is America. I mean, the answer to this is always going to be more guns from one side and more gun regulation on the other side. At the end of the day, people are going to do what people are going to do. You have the freedom. If you don't do background checks, if you don't do make it harder to access things that kill people on a mass level, this is just going to continue to happen. It's a proven fact that if you take away guns, you can't shoot people with those guns. So at the end of the day, disarming this country instead of giving everybody a gun and being like, you know what? The only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. That's a stupid mindset because here in America, everybody thinks they're number one. So, I have my rights and I have my freedoms. And if I can just pull out my gun and pop you instead of having a conversation with you, then why would I take the time to talk to you when I can just pull up and bang, bang? Like, that's the mentality of people that live here. And until we change that, this is going to continue to happen over and over and over and over again. So, until we change that, make it a lot harder for people to access guns. That's my solution. Make it super hard to get a gun.
I think we've talked about this before, and I hate to sound like an echo, but the toothpaste is out of the tube, the genie's out of the bottle. You're not getting rid of guns. You're not. This country definitely isn't. I mean, if you thought January 6th was something, you would see that tenfold by more than just people who are a lighter shade than Dion and myself. If you talk about taking their guns away, so I'm for increasing whatever you want to increase to make it. I don't know what those things need to be because it seems like every time one state does one thing, people are still getting through. Things are still happening. I would love to say that social media is the issue. I do believe, and I don't know if we had somebody on the show or not who said it, but it seems like we're to the point where this is a copycat thing at this point. I'm gonna go into the school and I'm gonna start shooting kids, and then I'm gonna kill myself. Very, very seldom do these people even survive because they either commit suicide by cop or kill themselves. I don't know. My heart goes out to the families of those 3 kids and 3 adults if that number still was holding what I saw earlier today. But I don't know. And I'm with you. My wife is a school teacher, and I do fear for her when she goes to work. And I know there's been some conversations about teachers carrying guns. Not all teachers are comfortable with that. You know that shooting last week, I believe that was last week in Denver, was that the week before. That school decided to go back to the resource officers, bringing back the armed resource officers. They had gotten rid of that. So I think everyone is one praying that it doesn't happen at your school, whether you have a child there or a loved one who works there. And the schools are praying that it doesn't happen there. I don't think anyone has any real idea of what to do about it, and
I mean,
that's a damn shame.
you're not going to come and take people's guns that they've already owned. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying there should be a recall on guns that already exist, but there are more guns in this country than there are people. And that is a problem because this society is very pro violence. Whether it's movies, whether it's video games, whether it's TV, whether it's just interpersonal conversations that we can't talk to each other because we disagree. So I'm going to put my hands on you or I'm going to shoot you and that'll end the argument. Having it easy. I can go to a trade show and buy a gun from Joe Schmo from Kokomo, and it's like it's just way too easy to have access. Sean makes a good point. He says Chris Rock once said bullets should cost more than guns. That way there will be no more innocent bystanders. I don't have a problem with that. If you want to charge more for ammunition to make it so that if you shoot somebody, it's going to cost you a pretty penny. So you might want to rethink that strategy. At least to the point where we can quell this idea that there ain't going to be a long line of people waiting to get stabbed where you have to run up in a school and be like, oh, I'm gonna stab you, I'm gonna stab you. Like at some point, it has to be. This needs to be addressed.
I want to touch on something real quick. We'll get back to the gun talk here. Facebook user here says it's not conservative to want jobs in the USA. Trump doesn't want jobs here. Can you tell me who said that?
Sean,
Sean, all Trump talked about was bringing jobs home. That was his whole thing. That jobs are being sent away. That you folks in Middle America are living the way you're living because there's no jobs here. Bring the jobs back. I never said bringing jobs back was conservative. I said that's what Trump said, and that's what Deon was saying. That's where that correlation came from. So I just wanted to make sure I made that point. I'm actually conservative. I know what it means to be conservative. Trump doesn't know. Trump was never conservative until the last 6 years. I know that too. All right. Rudy T says the shooter literally said in his manifesto that the choice of the school was because it was a gun-free zone. So Rudy T is making that point there. Rudy T's for guns. He made another point here. It's a proven fact that people with guns will avoid other people with guns.
not if we all have guns.
Jessica Lee Taylor says people need to speak up. If someone is acting different, making comments, disengage, speak up. And that is something there as well, Jessica. I believe this individual was having some issues, has said something. It seems like all of them have said one thing or another. And then whether it be family, whether it be the cops, whether it be friends, somewhere, some way, somehow, whether it be the law, that the ball gets dropped somewhere with a lot of these folks. Mary Ballard says TikTok is not the problem, as Alonzo Bolton points out. Social media gives idiots a place to meet and be heard. Kids now will learn the hard way like we did. Our hard way just was different. I disagree with Alonzo on that one, Mary. All right. Chris Rock, okay, you got that one already. All right. We got a couple more comments on this one. This show has ran a little longer than we wanted it to, but thank you guys for sticking it out with us. Rudy T says more guns than people in this country is a straw man argument about the level of violence perpetuated. It's not like people quadruple shooting for guns. Merce says if you're sick in the head to want to shoot people, I highly doubt you will get your guns legally. Mary says we had resource officers that were armed 30 plus years ago when I was in high school. The shootings just happened down the street or at parties on Friday nights. Jessica Lee says, I also work at a school, and in my district, everyone entering needs a badge to freely come and go. I question why these schools are so open. On the other side of our high school has metal detectors for children. I repeat, for children. And Jessica, I agree. If I want to go see my wife, I got to check in. I got to go to the office. I got to check in. I got to get my little name, sticky name tag before I can walk the campus to go to her school. So I'm with you there. When I was looking at the reports earlier today, again, I did not have time to keep up with it all day, but from what I gathered earlier today, this person today may have gotten in through a side door, and they were trying to figure out why was that side door even available for that person to get in, that murderer to get in. Kelly Roy says millions of veterans and jobs. Give our vets the job to protect schools. Two birds, one stone. I've heard that argument as well, Kelly.
Veterans don't want to be at school shooting people, shooting kids. Like, I mean, every campus should be locked down. Yes, all doors should be locked. You should have to one entrance in, one entrance out for non non personnel. But to me, it's not a gun issue. It's two things. It's mental awareness, mental health awareness, and it's the whole gun issue where if you say, oh, well, I'm gonna just go buy an illegal gun. Okay, if you go and break the law, you're a criminal and you will be dealt with accordingly. That's the point. Is to be able to track what happened and how it happened. So, oh, I see that you went to a school because you had an illegally purchased gun. So now I can go find out where you bought that gun from and I can hold that person accountable too. Whereas opposed to just being able to go to a gun trade show and buy it from Joe Schmo from Kokomo and boom, bang, and then it's done. It's like, well, I didn't know this person was crazy. I just wanted to sell guns. It's like there's supposed to be steps in place to mitigate that as best we can. You're not going to get rid of all of it, obviously. Prohibition doesn't work for the most part. We talked about this earlier with TikTok. You can't ban something and hope that it just stops. That's not the way this country operates. But making it harder to have access to a gun, to purchase a gun, should help, in
The,
theory, to stop all these people from getting shot.
the biggest problem we have when it comes to guns in this country is that it is a partisan issue, period. And in order to solve it, this is the only thing, and this would never happen. You'd have to get rid of the lobbyists, period. And
Correct.
if you don't, you're not getting solutions to a lot of things, and you're not going to get a solution to this gun issue. I don't know what the solution is outside of that. I don't know if it's less guns. I don't know if it's more guns. I have friends on both sides of that debate, and both make good points. And I don't have just crazy friends. I have very smart friends on both sides, and they both make some valid points on more and less guns. I fall right in the middle when in terms of that because I don't know what you're going to do. Even if you stop selling guns tomorrow, you got so many guns on the street, they can trade hands with no problem. If I want to go out there and buy a gun illegally, there's no problem anywhere in these 50 states. So I do not know, but it's going to take those people in D.C. to do something, and I'm sure there's a solution that could come out of there, but it won't because there's too much money changing hands, too many high-priced dinners being had, too many private jet rides being taken on vacations they're not supposed to. It's not happening.
I base it on all the other countries who made it harder for people to get access to gun and watch their numbers decline. So at the end of the day, will it drop to zero? Probably not. But it will be a lot less likely if we did a lot more to make it harder to purchase a new weapon. Again, I'm not saying everybody who buys a gun is going to go out and shoot somebody. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is making it harder for people who don't pass background checks, who have these red flags in their history to get access to weapons that can kill multiple people in a certain amount of time period should be a priority. And
But
again,
you
I agree with you saying that, that is a decision that the DC and the lobbying, that's never going to happen.
but that first link would need another link because now who's going to watch over these red flags and who's going to be in charge of that? And then when the red flags happen, now you got to implement. So it's a lot of the things. I'm with you. I'm with you with one thing you said. I do believe that making it harder would help, and I only say I agree because the Republicans overall refuse to do it because they know the same. Facebook user here says, the one time that the federal government, we almost had gun control when the Black Panthers in the 60s had guns. I think every black person should buy a gun and Congress will put that bill we'll put that bill through with the quickness. And then Mary Ballard says if schools are going to be gun-free zones, then the campus needs to be locked down. People are too self-absorbed to notice if someone is acting off or different. And then she says, how did we get on this topic of guns? Rudy T did it. We had a whole other topic lined up, which we're not going to get to, but Rudy T did it. But we love it. So applause. I don't know if he's still with us, but because as Deon and I have always said since we started Now There's Debatable, you guys are a host as well, so to speak. So you guys help drive the show. That's why we do the show live. It'll be easy for Deon just to get off and just record a podcast without you guys at all and put it up and you guys can listen to it. But, and I'm going to be honest, we've thought about it off and on here and there. Would it be better for the show? Would it worsen the show? So on and so forth. But we love the fact that you guys jump on every week and participate in the debates with us. And we hope you continue and we hope you share it and other people want to come on and join it too. Deon, like you to say something?
No, I was going to repeat what you said that, you guys are a large driver of the show. And I love the fact that we can have things planned and then you guys come on and say something that takes us down a different path. And, Sydney and I are able to talk about it. So, yeah, round of applause for Rudy. But at the same time, what we were going to talk about was going to be awesome because, man, uh, that John Stewart is an amazing American. Let me tell you, he comes up with some brilliant takes on things that people are saying in this country and how ridiculous it seems when you hold their feet to the fire. And he was I don't know if it was Meet the Press or he was on some show and they asked him, should we keep Trump out of jail to keep him from being a martyr? And the idea that somebody would even think to say something that ridiculous uh, just was something that I really wanted to talk about, but we ran out of time, so we'll save it for another show.
Maybe we'll do it for the bonus show for our Patreon members. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe that'll be the topic or one of the topics. Because if you have not joined the Patreon, I'm gonna scroll it for you one more time. You need to join it. Deon, do a. I hate to be the one to say it. I'm gonna give us an applause break. We do an excellent job with the bonus show. One of the things I'm proud of this show, and I know you guys are dwindling, but I want to say it anyway. I want to give Deon and myself a pat on the back because one of the things I love about this show is that he and I are able to talk about almost anything. If you guys bring it up, we're 99.9% of the time able to pivot to it and have that conversation with you. So kudos to you guys for sending us in the different directions. We have shows where you guys send us in 2 or 3 different directions, and we're able to do it. Hopefully that makes it more entertaining show for you. We know it makes it more entertaining for us, for you guys to be a part of the show. So thank you. But again, maybe we'll do that one for the Patreon. Go to the SydneySmithCreative.com, click on that Patreon tab. For $1, you can support the show for $1, and then you'll see there are different tiers. You get different things. But maybe we'll talk about that for the bonus show, which certain Patreon members do get. Let's see here. I'm going to make sure I don't miss out on anything here. Marissa says mental health awareness resources is definitely lacking. I would agree with that. Marissa, there's some things we can do in this country for that. Jessica Lee says parents that hold guns in their possession sometimes have kids with mental issues. We literally need people to speak up. Great point there as well, Jessica. Rudy T says, I'm here for all the smoke, pun intended. And Mary Ballard says, it's been really nice to watch on YouTube, no buffering or freezing. Nice to know, Mary, that it is probably a Facebook problem and not an us problem. So thank you for letting us know. And she says, no, Pastor, we want to be on with you. So thank you. She's referencing a clip that I put up on our Facebook group where I called myself and Deon a pastor. All right. Thank you guys very much. Deon, what is your what the hell this week?
My what the hell is up with people who go to comedy shows and think they can talk to the performer on stage? For the life of me, I cannot understand why you would spend money to go watch something and then ruin it by adding your shitty 2 cents. You don't go to movies and say, cut, let's reshoot this scene. So you don't need to come to a comedy show and go, you know what? I didn't like that joke. Or, ooh, let me help you with this joke. I don't need your help. Sydney doesn't need your help. And any other professional comedian who's on a show, who's paid to do what they do, don't need your help. So this goes out to all the drunk women and men at comedy shows. Shut the fuck up. Please shut the fuck up. Shut the entire fuck up. I don't need your help. I don't want your help. If I call on you, you can respond. If not, shut the fuck up.
And that will be a clip probably tomorrow up on our social media, probably tomorrow. But definitely that will be a clip. But I do want to say this, and this what I'm going to say would not be a part of the clip. Deon nailed it. But I do want to say this because I always tell people this. You paid to get in. You pay for all your drinks. You pay for all your food. I drank and ate for free all weekend, and they still gave me a check. I don't need your help. So that is that. My what the hell this week is going to be Dr. Umar. Please, folks, if you see this man anywhere on social media, please don't pass it along. I decided myself I'm going to stop passing him along. He is a racist. And while I do believe classism may be a more serious issue than racism in this country, it is racists like this man who wants you to think the opposite and will try to push it as far as he can for the almighty dollar. It is not just people on the right who want to push racism and so on and so forth for the almighty dollar. It is that man too. Do not be fooled by the shade of his skin. He is as bad as someone who has pale skin, who is saying the exact type of shit just on the opposite side of the fence. Do not listen to this man. Do not promote this man. Do not push this man. And if you are African American and you love Dr. Umar, please do not send his shit to me. Stop it. Cut the bullshit right now. This has been Now It's Debatable. That's been my brother Deon Curry. You guys have been awesome as our master debaters this week. I've been Sidney Smith. This show has been a lot of fun. Thank you guys. Everybody have yourself a great week. And please, please, please just reconsider the Patreon. Thank you guys very much.